Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day. Don't forget, grab your smartphone and download the Lava Matra app and stay in touch. Guru Mahārāja's message is your advantage. The following is a Sri Kṛṣṇa Caitanya book compilation given by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Mahārāja on August 1st, 2022 in Sri Mayapur, India.
Mahārāja Yati Sātalahan Mande Harananda Madhavam Hari Om Tat Sat.
This Caitanya Lila compilation continues the part 2. Everyone develops faith in Haridāsa Ṭhākura during his stay in Phuliyā.
Part 2.
Part 2. Caitanya Bhagavad, Adikanta 16.12.
কৃষ্ণ ব্রতগণের প্রতি আত্মবন মন্যতে জগৎ নীতির অনুসরণে জিহ উদরস্থ লম্পট গৃহব্রতগণের বিদ্রূপ উক্তি। সংসারী সকল বলে মাগিয়া খাইতে, ডাকিয়া বলয়ে হরি লোক জানাইতে।
The materialists said they loudly chant the name of Hari to attract attention for collecting alms. Purport. The phrase Samsari Shakal refers to those persons who illicitly enjoy the tongue, belly and genitals, who are greedy for insignificant mundane prestige, who are lusty for lavishly enjoying material happiness, who are averse to the worship of Kṛṣṇa, who consider the body as in all in all, and who are attached to material objects. While seeing the chanters of Krishna's names through their glasses colored with the desire for their own material sense gratification, such persons used to deride the devotees by saying that they live in this world simply for the purpose of filling their bellies and attaining mundane prestige like themselves, while they externally loudly chant the names of Hari.
So His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Saraswati Prabhupada.
So His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada
is giving this purport.
He is giving this purport.
And so he's stating what the materialists are doing,
So he is stating what the materialists are doing,
how they are criticizing the sincere devotees.
how they are criticizing the sincere devotees.
The devotee realizes that service to Kṛṣṇa
The devotees realizes that service to Kṛṣṇa
is superior,
is superior,
while they may still be engaged in some material activities.
while they may be engaged in some material activities.
They are trying to cultivate their spiritual knowledge
They are trying to cultivate their spiritual knowledge
and their spiritual practices.
and the spiritual practices.
But people who are actually materialistic,
And people who are actually materialistic,
they don't give any credit
they don't give any credit
to the devotees
to the devotees
who are trying to chant the names of Hari
who are trying to chant the names of Hari
and practicing devotional service.
and practicing devotional service.
Lord Chaitanya had requested everyone to do.
as Lord Chaitanya had requested everyone to do. Chaitanya Bhagavat Adi Kanta 16.13.
নিরীহ কৃষ্ণব্রত বৈষ্ণবগণের বিরুদ্ধে দ্রোহার্ত গৃহব্রত পাষণ্ডীগণের ষড়যন্ত্র। এগুলার গড় ধার ফেলাই ভাঙিয়া এই যুক্তি করে সব নদিয়া মিলিয়া।
The people of Nadia met together and decided, let us break their doors and houses. Purport: the word Phuliyā, according to the opinion of some, Phuliyā comes from the Bengali verb phela, which is derived from the Hindi verb pekna, which is again derived from the Sanskrit verb shape. In another opinion, Phuliyā comes from the Sanskrit root phel, which means to leave something or to move something, while in yet another opinion, the Bengali word phelan comes from the word phelan or phelhan, which are corruptions of the Sanskrit word preran. In this place is used to indicate the completion of an activity. It may also mean to give, to end, to complete, or to finish. The houses of those who loudly engage in congregational chanting of the names of Kṛṣṇa should be broken to pieces, picked up, and thrown away. Atheistic Hindus who were envious of Hari, Guru, and Vaishnava, and who were sick with jealousy, used to maintain such envious mentality against the peaceful, humble, innocent Vaishnavas.
Our situation in Nadia district
So the situation in Nadia district
and in the world was that innocent Vaishnavas are being persecuted,
was that the innocent Vaishnavas was being persecuted,
and that the materialistic people had the majority.
and that the materialistic people had the majority.
So they tried in various ways to discourage the Vaishnavas
to discourage the Vaishnavas
of their performing Bhakti Yoga.
of them performing the Bhakti Yoga. Chaitanya Bhagavata Adikanda 16.14.
পাষণ্ডীগণের দৌরাত্ম সংকল্প শ্রবণে ভক্তগণের স্বীয় দুঃখ ভার লাঘব অর্থ সম্ভাষণীয় বা সহানুভূতিপূর্ণ যোগ্য লোক অভাব। শুনিয়া পায়েন দুঃখ সর্বভক্তগণে সম্ভাষা করেন হেন না পায়েন জনে।
Hearing this, all the devotees felt great distress. They could not even find anyone qualified to speak with. Purport: seeing the sinful and atheistic mentality of the envious non-devotees, the devotees of the Lord could not find any suitable person to converse with or to reciprocate within affectionate exchanges.
So although the devotees wanted to speak,
Although the devotees wanted to speak,
but they could not find anyone who would listen to them in a neutral frame of mind.
who would listen to them in neutral, favorable mind,
And thus be able to mediate the differences.
that it could be mediate and the differences. Chaitanya Bhagavat Adikanda 16.15.
তৎকালীন হরিভক্তিশূন্য মৎসর জগৎ দর্শনে ভক্তগণের কৃষ্ণ সমীপে দুঃখ নিবেদন। শূন্য দেখি ভক্তগণ সকল সংসার, হা কৃষ্ণ বলিয়া দুঃখ ভাবেন অপার।
The devotees saw the entire world as devoid of devotional service. So they prayed to Krishna in great distress. Purport. The word Sunya means devoid of devotion to Lord Krishna. Seeing the absence of pure devotional service throughout Navadvip at that time, the pure devotees of the Lord always prayed to Krishna and deeply considered how to remove the unlimited miseries of the distressed, conditioned living entities.
At that time, Navadvip was filled with materialistic people
At that time, Navadvip was filled with materialistic people
who were not sympathetic with devotional service.
who did not sympathetic with devotional service.
And they tried to, they saw that the goal of life was material sense gratification.
And I mean that they thought the goal of life is sense gratification.
And that the devotees in the process of Sankirtan
And the devotees in the process of Sankirtan
were disturbing everybody.
was disturbing everybody.
So they wanted to take vengeance against the devotees.
So they wanted to take vengeance against the devotees.
But the devotees were feeling that the situation was very distressful for the general mass of people.
But the devotees were feeling the situation was distressful for the general mass of people.
And that they are suffering material distress for lack of Krishna consciousness.
And they were suffering material distress for lack of Krishna consciousness. Caitanya Bhagavat, Adikanda 16.16.
শুদ্ধ ভক্তির মূর্ত বিগ্রহরূপে ঠাকুর হরিদাসের নবদ্বীপে আগমন। হেন কালে তথায় আইলা হরিদাস, শুদ্ধ বিষ্ণু ভক্তি যার বিগ্রহে প্রকাশ।
At that time, Haridāsa Ṭhākura arrived in Navadvip. He was the personification of pure devotion to Lord Vishnu. Purport. When the supreme devotees were lamenting the absence of pure devotional service throughout the entire country at that time, by the will of Krishna, Sri Haridāsa Ṭhākura arrived in Sri Navadvip, Mayapur.
Hariva!
Sri Haridāsa Ṭhākura was not a preacher of Shido devotional service. He was always engaged in the unalloyed execution of pure devotional service, which is without any ulterior motives, which is free from speculation on the impersonal Brahman, and which is devoid of the desire for enjoying material happiness.
At this time, and the situation looking very dark.
At this time, the situation was looking very dark,
And people were not favorable.
and people were not favorable for devotional service.
By the mercy of Lord Kṛṣṇa, Haridāsa Ṭhākura arrived on the scene.
By the mercy of Krishna, Haridāsa Ṭhākura arrived in the scene.
It's like a sun, a moon coming up in the darkness.
It is like the sun or the moon coming up in the darkness. Chaitanya Bhagavat Adi Kanda 16.17.
ঠাকুর হরিদাসের বৃত্তান্ত বর্ণন, নামাচার্যের মাহাত্ম্য কথা, শ্রবণে কৃষ্ণ প্রাপ্তি ও নাম প্রীতির উদয়। এবে শোনো হরিদাস ঠাকুরের কথা, যাহার শ্রবণে কৃষ্ণ পাইবে সর্বথা।
Now please hear the topics of Srila Haridāsa Ṭhākura. For by hearing this narration, one certainly attain Kṛṣṇa.
So, by hearing about Haridāsa Ṭhākura,
So by hearing about Haridāsa Ṭhākura,
we can attain
Lord Kṛṣṇa.
Lord Kṛṣṇa.
Hari Bol. Chaitanya Bhagavat Adi Kanda 16.18.
বুরন পরগনায় নামাচার্য হরিদাসের আবির্ভাব ফলে কীর্তন দুর্ভিক্ষ নাশ। পুরন গ্রামেতে অবতীর্ণ হরিদাস, সে ভাগ্যে সেসব দেশে কীর্তন প্রকাশ।
Haridāsa Ṭhākura appeared in the village of Putan, and as a result that province is filled with Kirtan even today. Purport. Haridāsa Ṭhākura is an eternally perfect associate of the Lord. He appeared in a Mohammedan family in the village of Putan, within the district of Jashur. Due to his mercy, many persons in the district of Jashur obtained piety and became faithful to the chanting of Krishna's holy names.
So, although Haridāsa Ṭhākura was born in a non-Hindu family,
Although Haridāsa Ṭhākura was born in a non-Hindu family,
he developed faith in chanting the holy names
he developed faith in chanting the holy names
of Lord Kṛṣṇa.
of Lord Kṛṣṇa.
And by his presence, by his association,
And by his presence and by his association,
many people are influenced to also have faith.
many people also influenced to have faith. Chaitanya Bhagavat Adi Kanda 16.19.
কতিপয় বর্ষ পরে গঙ্গা বাসার্থ শান্তিপুরের সমীপবর্তী ফুলিয়া গ্রামে হরিদাসের আগমন। কতদিন থাকিয়া আইলা গঙ্গা তীরে, আসিয়া রহিলা ফুলিয়ায় শান্তিপুরে।
After residing there for some time, he came to the bank of the Ganges at Phuliyā, near Santipur. Purport. Phuliyā is a remote village near Santipur. Thakur Haridas lived for some time in both Phuliyā and Santipur, both of which are situated on the banks of the Ganges.
To this day, there's a man-made cave in the village of Phuliyā,
To this date, there is a man-made cave in Phuliyā,
which is reputed to be the residence of Haridāsa Ṭhākura when he was there.
which is noted as the Haridāsa Ṭhākura's residence when he was there. Chaitanya Bhagavat Adi Kanda 16.20.
স্বজাতীয় আশয় স্নিগ্ধ শুদ্ধ ভক্ত হরিদাসের সঙ্গলাভে অদ্বৈত প্রভুর অপার আনন্দ। পাইয়া তাহান সঙ্গ আচার্য গোসাই, হুঙ্কার করেন আনন্দের অন্ত নাই।
Upon obtaining Haridāsa association, Upon obtaining Haridāsa Ṭhākura's association, Advaita Acharya rode in unlimited ecstasy. Purport. Having received the association of Thakur Haridāsa, Sri Advaita Prabhu felt great happiness and often expressed an outburst of this joy.
In this situation of the world, Advaita Gosai was also feeling very distressed.
In this situation of the world, Advaita Prabhu also feeling very much distressed.
To see how the people were missing the real purpose of life.
To see how the people were missing the real purpose of life.
So he was overjoyed to have the association of Thakur Haridāsa.
So he was overjoyed for the association of Thakur Haridāsa.
Someone who was a sincere practitioner of devotional service.
He was a sincere practitioner of the devotional service. Chaitanya Bhagavat, Adikanda 16.21.
ইষ্টদেব অদ্বৈত প্রভুর সঙ্গলাভে হরিদাসেরও ভক্তিরসামৃত সিন্ধুতে নিমজ্জন। হরিদাস ঠাকুর ও অদ্বৈত দেব সঙ্গে ভাসেন গোবিন্দ রস সমুদ্র তরঙ্গে।
Similarly, in the association of Advaita Prabhu, Haridāsa Ṭhākura floated in the waves of the ocean of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Purport. By the influence of Sri Advaita Prabhu's association, Haridāsa Ṭhākura also floated in the ocean of the transcendental mellows of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Many people think that since Haridāsa Ṭhākura was busy in only chanting the holy names, he did not enter into relishing the transcendental mellows in relationship with Govinda. Such belief of the Prakrita Sakajiyas is most erroneous, because the holy names of Kṛṣṇa are the bestowers of all spiritual benedictions and non-different from Kṛṣṇa, the embodiment of all transcendental mellows. Simply by chanting the holy names of Kṛṣṇa, one relishes the transcendental mellows related with Kṛṣṇa. There is no possibility of relishing the transcendental mellows related with Kṛṣṇa by any other process. Thakur Haridāsa was the actual knower of the transcendental mellows related with Kṛṣṇa, and he is the principal teacher for understanding Rasa Sastras, or literature filled with the transcendental mellows related with Kṛṣṇa. Due to committing offenses against the holy names of the Lord, the sentimental Prakrita Sakajiya Sampradayas become bewildered with material enjoyment and thus have no information regarding the transcendental mellows related with the holy names.
Since Kṛṣṇa, a person, and Kṛṣṇa as his holy name are not different.
Since Kṛṣṇa, the person, and Kṛṣṇa as the holy name is non-different.
So, to dive into the ocean of transcendental rasa or mellows.
To dive into the ocean of transcendental mellows, rasas,
is possible by chanting the holy name.
Is possible by chanting the holy names.
And that is the authorized process.
And that is the authorized process.
So the devotees should observe themselves in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
So the devotees should observe themselves in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
And that's why His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada has prescribed that devotees to chant 16 rounds.
That's why His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada prescribed that devotees should chant 16 rounds every day.
Plus chant congregationally.
Plus chant congregationally
in the temple or in other meeting place.
in temple or in other meeting places.
So we hope the devotees will take this process to heart and taste the ecstasy
We hope that the devotees will take this process to the heart and taste the ecstasy
of Krishna consciousness.
of Krishna consciousness. Chaitanya Bhagavat Adikanda 16.22.
হরিদাসের ক্রিয়ামুদ্রা বা লীলা বর্ণন। সর্বক্ষণ কৃষ্ণ ইচ্ছা পরতন্ত্রতা ও গঙ্গা প্রান্তে হরিধ্বনিপূর্বক বিচরণ। নিরবধি হরিদাস গঙ্গা তীরে তীরে ভ্রমেন কৌতকে কৃষ্ণ বলি উচ্চ স্বরে।
Haridāsa Ṭhākura would continually wander on the banks of the Ganges while loudly chanting the names of Krishna,
Of
Lord Krishna. Purport. Regarding the situation of Haridāsa Ṭhākura, it is stated in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Purva 3.11, when the seed of ecstatic emotion for Krishna fructifies, the following 9 symptoms manifest in one's behavior: forgiveness, concern that time should not be wasted, detachment, absence of false prestige, hope, eagerness, a taste for chanting the holy name of the Lord, attachment to descriptions of the transcendental qualities of the Lord, and affection for those places where the Lord resides, that is, a temple or a holy place like Vrindavan. These are called anubhavas, subordinate signs of ecstatic emotion. They are visible in a person in whose heart the seed of love of God has begun to fructify. Also in the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.40, Kavi, one of the 9 Yogendras, says to Nimi, the king of Videha, as follows: by chanting the holy name of the Supreme Lord, one comes to the stage of love of Godhead. Then the devotee is fixed in his vow as an eternal servant of the Lord, and he gradually becomes very much attached to a particular name and form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As his heart melts with ecstatic love, he laughs very loudly or cries or shouts. Sometimes he sings and dances like a madman, for he is indifferent to public opinion. This purport applies to verse 22 and 232.
So these anubhavas
So these anubhavas
are something that is not easy to imitate.
and is something that is not easy to imitate.
Sometimes people imitate the ecstatic symptoms,
Sometimes people imitate the ecstatic symptoms,
like crying or choking up of the throat
like crying or choking up of the throat
or fainting.
or fainting.
But a good actor can imitate those.
But a good actor can imitate these.
But the anubhavas,
But the anubhavas,
that's very natural expressions.
that is very natural expressions.
And it's not possible to imitate them consistently.
It is not possible to imitate them consistently.
So, when the devotee is actually advancing in Krishna consciousness,
For the devotees who are actually advancing in Krishna consciousness,
they awaken their ecstatic symptoms.
they awaken their ecstatic symptoms.
They also develop these anubhavas,
They also develop these anubhavas,
like forgiveness, tolerance,
like forgiveness, tolerance,
etc.
etc. Chaitanya Bhagavat Adikanda 16.23.
হরিদাসের গুণ বর্ণন। জড় ভোগাসক্তিতে চির ঔদাসীন্য ও নিরন্তর কৃষ্ণ নামে প্রীতি, বিষয় সুখেতে বিরক্তের অগ্রগণ্য, কৃষ্ণ নামে পরিপূর্ণ শ্রীবন ধন্য।
Ṭhākura.
Thakur Haridas was most renounced in the matter of material enjoyment, and his mouth was always beautified with the chanting of Lord Krishna's names.
Holiness.
Holy names. Jai. Purport. The tongue of Sri Haridāsa Ṭhākura was always engaged in chanting the holy names of Lord Krishna. His tongue, which constantly chanted the names of Krishna, was extraordinarily attractive. Since he was completely indifferent to material enjoyment, detachment for all such enjoyment awakened in him. The holy names of Krishna never dance on the tongues of those who are material enjoyers. Those who are busy enjoying the 6 mundane rasas and whose hearts are always disturbed with desires and greed for material happiness never develop any taste for chanting the holy names of the Lord. The pseudo renunciates who are aloof from the chanting the names of Krishna are also indifferent to chanting like the material enjoyers. Thakur Haridas was completely detached from enjoying material happiness and thus remained on the topmost platform.
So, everybody wants to be happy.
So everyone wants to be happy.
Without happiness, they don't feel any purpose in life.
Without happiness, they don't feel any purpose in life.
So the materialists, their happiness is to their senses contacting sense objects.
The materialists, their happiness is their senses contacting their sense objects.
But the devotees try to cultivate a higher happiness
But the devotees cultivate the higher happiness
of chanting the holy names of Lord Kṛṣṇa,
of chanting the holy names of Lord Krishna,
or engaging in devotional service,
or engaging in devotional service,
decorating the deities,
decorating the deities,
remembering the Lord,
and
doing different kinds of devotional service.
doing different kinds of devotional service.
So, gradually their attachment to Krishna increases
So gradually their attachment for Krishna increases
and their detachment from material sense enjoyment decreases.
and detachment to material sense enjoyment decreases.
Haridāsa Ṭhākura was a prime example of this.
Haridāsa Ṭhākura is a prime example for this.
He was always on the topmost position
He is always on the topmost position
of devotional service
of devotional service.
and completely detached from material enjoyment.
He is completely detached from material enjoyment. Caitanya Bhagavat, Adikanda 16.24.
হরিদাসের লীলা বর্ণন। অনুক্ষণ পরম উৎসাহ ভরে নামরস পান ও অপাকৃত ক্রিয়ামুদ্রা বা প্রেম বিকার। ক্ষণেক গোবিন্দ নামে নাহি কবিরক্তি, ভক্তি রসে অনুক্ষণ হয় নানা মূর্তি।
He did not give up chanting the names of Govinda for even a moment, and as a result, he was constantly manifesting various ecstatic symptoms. Purport. Thakur Haridas was never in any way indifferent to chanting the names of Govinda. He was constantly merged in the transcendental mellows related with Krishna.
Lord Caitanya instructed Caitanya Sadahari.
Lord Chaitanya instructed Kirtane Sadahari.
One should always chant the holy names of Krishna.
One should always chant the holy names of Krishna.
And Haridāsa Ṭhākura, Namacharya exemplified that.
Haridāsa Ṭhākura, Namacharya, exemplifies that.
He constantly chanted the holy names of Lord Krishna, Lord Govinda.
He constantly chanted the holy names of Lord Krishna, Lord Govinda,
And thus, he was always in transcendental ecstasy.
and thus he was always in the transcendental ecstasy.
One time, Haridāsa Ṭhākura was passing through a marketplace.
Once Haridāsa Ṭhākura went passing through the marketplace,
And there was a snake charmer who used Krishna Kaliya mantra to tame his servants.
and there was a snake charmer who was using Krishna Kaliya mantra to control the snake.
And Haridāsa Ṭhākura, he was chanting and he was in such ecstasy
And Haridāsa Ṭhākura, he was chanting and he was in such ecstasy
that the village people started to chant, pray their obeisances to Haridāsa Ṭhākura.
and the villagers started to pay obeisances to Haridāsa Ṭhākura.
One Brahmin was sitting there with a parrot doing astrology as a business.
One Brahman who was sitting there having a parrot and doing astrology business.
He felt envious that why all these villagers are bowing down to Haridāsa Ṭhākura. I'm a Brahmin, they should bow down to me.
And he felt envious why all the villagers are paying obeisances to Haridāsa Ṭhākura. I am a Brahman, they should pay obeisances to me.
So he stood up and he started imitating Haridāsa Ṭhākura.
And he stood up and started to imitating Haridāsa Ṭhākura.
And then he fell on the ground in ecstasy, unfeigned ecstasy.
And he fell on the ground with the fake ecstasy, faint ecstasy.
This imitated ecstasy. And the snake charmer, he said, this person is cheating you. He is not feeling ecstasy.
And the snake charmer said, this person is cheating. He is not in real ecstasy.
He simply wants you to worship him.
He simply wants you to worship him.
And I'm going to kick him. If he's in ecstasy, he won't feel it.
I am going to kick him. If he is not in ecstasy, he won't feel it.
He kicked him.
And he kicked him.
He jumped up and then kicked.
And he jumped.
And all those saw he was a cheater.
And all the villagers saw him, he is a cheater.
And they chased after him.
And they chased after
And
him.
he ran away.
And he ran away.
Haridāsa Ṭhākura ki.
Jai. Chaitanya Bhagavat, Adi Kanda, 16.25.
কখনো করেন নিত্য আপনা আপনি, কখনো করেন মত্ত সিংহ প্রায় ধ্বনি।
Sometimes he danced alone, and sometimes he rode like a mad lion. Chaitanya Bhagavat, Adi Kanda, 16.26.
কখনো বা উচ্চ স্বরে করেন রোদন, অট্ট অট্ট মহাহাস্য হাসেন কখন।
Sometimes he cried loudly, and sometimes he laughed loudly. Chaitanya Bhagavat, Adi Kanda, 16.27.
কখনো গর্জেন অতি হুঙ্কার করিয়া, কখনো মূর্ছিত হই থাকেন পড়িয়া।
Sometimes he roared loudly and sometimes he fell to the ground unconscious. Chaitanya Bhagavat, Adikanda 16.28.
ক্ষণে অলৌকিক শব্দ বলেন ডাকিয়া, ক্ষণে তাই বাখানেন উত্তম করিয়া।
Sometimes he would utter some unnatural sounds for which he would later give some profound meaning. Chaitanya Bhagavat, Adikanda 16.26.
অশ্রুপাত রোমহর্ষ হাস্য মুছা ঘর্ম, কৃষ্ণ ভক্তি বিকারের যত আছে মর্ম।
He manifested all the different ecstatic symptoms like crying, hair standing on end, laughing, losing consciousness, and perspiring. Purport. The phrase Krishna Bhakti Vikar indicates the following 8 transformations of ecstatic love: Stamba, being stunned; Sveta, perspiring; Romancha, hair standing on end; Swara Beta, choking; Vepathu or Kampa, trembling; Vaivarnya, fading of color; Ashru, weeping; and Pralaya or Murcha, devastation.
Haridāsa Ṭhākura was always feeling these transcendental ecstasies.
So Haridāsa Ṭhākura was always feeling these transcendental ecstasies.
The devotees should practice their Krishna consciousness and awaken these ecstasies.
Devotees should practice their Krishna consciousness and awaken these ecstasies. Chaitanya Bhagavat, Adikanda 16.30.
হরিনাম কীর্তন নর্তন আরম্ভকালে হরিদাসের দেহে প্রেম বিকার প্রসূনসমূহের প্রাকট্য। প্রভু হরিদাস মাত্র নিত্যে প্রবেশিলে, সকল আসিয়া তান শ্রীবিগ্রহে মিলে।
As soon as Haridāsa
Haridāsa.
Ṭhākura Haridas began to dance, these symptoms would all manifest in his body. Purport. The word Sri Vigraha is explained as follows. The body of Sri Haridāsa Ṭhākura is not a lump of blood, flesh and skin like that of an ordinary fruitive worker. As a result of serving the holy names, various pure ecstatic transformations would manifest in his transcendental body. The Vaishnava associates of the Lord who are inclined towards his service manifest many pure ecstatic transformations in their transcendental bodies, unlike the ordinary fruitive workers, who become averse to the cultivation of Krishna consciousness while gratifying their material bodies.
A devotee of Krishna, gradually his body becomes purified.
A devotee of Krishna's body gradually becomes purified.
Just as if you put iron in fire, after a while the iron becomes red hot.
Just as if you put an iron in a fire, gradually it becomes red hot.
And for all practical purposes, the iron is like fire.
And for all practical purposes, the iron is like a fire.
If you touch the red hot iron to anything, it will burn.
If you touch a red hot iron or anything, it will burn.
Similarly, the devotee, by constantly chanting the holy names,
Similarly, devotees by constantly chanting the holy names
and engaging in devotional service, the body becomes purified.
and their body becomes purified.
And transcendental.
and transcendental. Chaitanya Bhagavat Adikanta 16.31.
অদ্ভুত প্রেমাশ্রু ধারা দর্শনে মহাপাষণ্ডীর সম্ভ্রম। হেন সে আনন্দ ধারাতীতে সর্বঙ্গ, অতি পাষণ্ডীয় দেখি পায় মহারঙ্গ।
Ṭhākura.
Thakur Haridāsa's entire body became wet as tears of love flowed from his eyes. Even staunch atheists would offer him respect. Purport. When Haridāsa Ṭhākura chanted the names of Kṛṣṇa out of love, tears flowed from his eyes and his entire body would become wet. Even the most atheistic offenders, who were devoid of devotional service, became astonished on seeing such transcendently ecstatic transformations.
Haridāsa Ṭhākura would transform the sentiments of atheists
Haridāsa Ṭhākura would transform the sentiments of atheists
by his sincere expression and manifestation
by his sincere expression and manifestation
of spiritual ecstatic love for Kṛṣṇa.
of spiritual ecstatic love for Kṛṣṇa.
Everyone became influenced.
Everyone became influenced. Chaitanya Bhagavat Adikanda 16.32.
অপূর্ব প্রেমপুলক দর্শনে অজ ভবাদিরও আনন্দ, কিবা সে অদ্ভুত অঙ্গে শ্রীপুলকাবলী, ব্রহ্মা শিব দেখিয়া হয়েন কৌতূহলী।
Even Brahma and Shiva were satisfied to see the wonderful manifestation of Haridasa's hair standing on end.
Hair standing on end is one of the ecstatic symptoms
Hair standing on end is one of the ecstatic symptoms
that Haridāsa Ṭhākura would manifest.
that Haridāsa Ṭhākura would manifest.
And it's not possible not very possible to imitate such manifestation.
And it is not very possible to imitate such manifestations. Chaitanya Bhagavat Adikanda 16.33.
ফুলিয়া গ্রামবাসী সজ্জনগণের তদ্দর্শন লাভে হর্ষ অতিশর্য। ফুলিয়া গ্রামের যত ব্রাহ্মণ সকল, সবেই তাহানে দেখি হইলা বিয়ল।
All the Brahmanas of Phuliyā were overwhelmed upon seeing Haridāsa Ṭhākura. Purport. Upon seeing the bodily transformations of Ṭhākura Haridāsa, the Phuliyā Brahmanas who were engaged in fruitive activities realized the uselessness of such temporary activities and became overwhelmed by seeing those waves of love. All of them developed special respect for him.
The association of Haridāsa Ṭhākura
By the association of Haridāsa Ṭhākura,
the materialistic Brahmanas of Phuliyā
the materialistic Brahmanas of Phuliyā became transformed.
Haridāsa Ṭhākura, by his purity and Kṛṣṇa consciousness,
Haridāsa Ṭhākura, by his purity and Kṛṣṇa consciousness,
he naturally achieved respect of everyone.
he naturally achieved respect from everyone. Chaitanya Bhagavat Adikanda 16.34.
তাহাতে সকলের শ্রদ্ধা উদয়, কিয়দ্দিন তথায় অবস্থান। সবার তাহানে বড় জন্মিল বিশ্বাস, ফুলিয়ায় রহিলেন প্রভু হরিদাস।
While Haridāsa Prabhu resided in Phuliyā, everyone there developed great faith in him.
So, by the association of a pure devotee,
So by the association of a pure devotee,
people are transformed and they develop faith.
people are transformed and they develop faith.
Prabhupada was saying
So Prabhupada was saying
that he wants moons, devotees who are very advanced in Krishna consciousness.
he wants moons, that devotees are get advanced, who are advanced.
That having some moons is more important
So having some moons is more important
than many stars.
than many stars.
And that on Amavasya night, when there's no moon, the stars don't eradicate the darkness.
On the Amavasya night, where there is no moon, the stars won't eradicate the darkness.
But one moon in the Purnima night, it takes away all the darkness.
One moon on the Purnima night, it can takes away the darkness.
So he wanted his devotees read Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam,
So he wanted devotees to read Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam
to chant Hare Krishna,
and chant Hare Krishna,
and to very carefully follow the regular principles
and very carefully follow the regulative principles
so that they could achieve this purity,
so they could achieve this purity
even by associating with the devotees for a short time.
So even by associating with the devotees for short time,
They feel development of faith.
so they will feel the development of faith.
And the people in Phuliyā did naturally.
So in Phuliyā, the people did this naturally.
And having the association of Ṭhākura Haridāsa.
Having the association of Ṭhākur Haridāsa. Haribol. So thus ends the chapter entitled Everyone Develops Faith in Haridāsa Ṭhākur during his stay in Phuliyā, Part 2, under the section The Glories of Srila Haridāsa Ṭhākur.
Thank you for watching our videos. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day, and don't forget to like and share our channel.